All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome you all to another episode. We have been celebrating Dr. Sunday Adelaja for his 52nd birthday celebration. I would like to welcome our Facebook viewers and our YouTube viewers. Thank you so much for being with us on this amazing journey, celebrating the life, the legacy, the impact, and the influence of Dr. Sunday's life in our lives as individuals and also to the nations of the world. You're very much welcome. Thank you for joining us today. As you join us on Facebook and on YouTube, I would like to encourage you to please kindly share this video on your timeline. If you're watching us on Facebook, you could also share this video to groups that you belong to, or you could suggest this video to your friends and your family members by sending it into their inboxes. And if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you for being with us today. You could share this video link on your social media platforms for us to have more people to join us as we celebrate Dr. Sunday. Well, it's been a wonderful journey thus far. If you're just joining us for the first time and you've missed out on the previous episodes, we've had diverse topics and dynamic speakers who have come to present on the multidimensional side of Dr. Sunday, different aspects, and we've been able to learn a lot from Dr. Sunday's life. He's been a model, and we can see examples from his own life. We can see some values, we can see principles that we can apply in our lives to live the life that God has destined for us to live. However, before I go into today's special episode, I have some books I would like to quickly talk about because this month of May we are having Dr. Sunday's birthday book promo. So till the end of May, Dr. Sunday will be giving out his book at a discounted rate. So anyone who is interested in getting these books, and I'm talking about not the e-copy, but having a hard copy of the books, you can write to dsasbooks@gmail.com to make your order. The first book I would like to start with is this classic, The Jesus You Never Knew. The Jesus You Never Knew. Well, this is one of the first set of books that Dr. Sunday wrote in English. You could see that the quantity is not as voluminous as his latest books, but anyone who reads this book, you definitely get a new revelation of Jesus, the Jesus you never knew. All right. The next one I would like to talk about is Those Who Are Christ's. Those who are Christ. You know, if there is anything that you would learn from Dr. Sunday, it is that he would bring you to that realization of who you are in Christ. And Dr. Sunday's emphasis is always on personal relationship with God, having an intimate relationship with the Father. And well, this book is titled Those Who Are Christ. So if you belong to Christ, I think it would be great for you to get to read what Dr. Sunday has in this book. So the title of this book is Those Who Are Christ. All right. This is another book titled Mighty Warrior. Anytime I announce this book, it always brings to my memory a song we used to sing in our African church. But I won't sing the song today. I guess you know this song already. Okay, so the title of this book is Mighty Warrior. And right here is written, How to Become Mighty Through Prayer. How to Become Mighty Through Prayer. So that's the book, Mighty Warrior, How to Become Mighty Through Prayer. So I'll go to some of the recent books that Dr. Sunday has published. This one is The Elijah Challenge. Well, if you watched the video and you were blown away by that video, then I guess you want to get this book, because this book is more like a continuation of the fire in that video. So the title of this book is The Elijah Challenge. And anyone who reads this book, you will definitely be free from the bondage of fear and from the grasp of deception that is in the Nigerian church. So the title of the book is The Elijah Challenge. The Elijah Challenge. All right. I'll go to the next book right now, which is titled Life is Predictable. Right? Life is Predictable. This is one of Dr. Sunday's key principles in life. And if you want to understand the predictability of life, and why would Dr. Sunday say that life is predictable? Well, I thought no one knows what would happen tomorrow. We don't know what would happen next year. But here comes Dr. Sunday saying that life is predictable. I guess you would like to know what exactly is this man trying to pass across. So please do well to make an order for this book, Life is Predictable. And the book right by my side here is titled Life's Greatest Secret, My Greatest Discovery in Life. Well, it is going to be a great combo, a great combination if you combine this book and that book right there, Life's Greatest Secret, because they all speak about the greatest discovery that Dr. Sunday had in life, which is about the predictability of life. So please do well to get these books. And then the final one I'll be announcing today is Raising the Next Generation of Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. Wow. Raising the next generation of Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. Anyone who has read this book would realize that this book is not just about mentioning some folks who are atheists, because some people will say, oh, are we trying to raise some atheists? Because all they know about Steve Jobs and Bill Gates is that these guys are atheists. But nope. When you get your hand on this book and you begin to read this book, it will blow your mind. The truths, the principles that are in this book. You will just realize that all your days in church that you've not converted, those anointing, the goosebumps that you feel in church, you've wasted a whole lot of time because you've not known the principles of conversion that Dr. Sunday was trying to communicate in this book. So the title of this book is Raising the Next Generation of Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. So these books and more you can get by writing to the office here at DSA'sbooks@gmail.com for you to be able to partake in this birthday promo. All right. And the next announcement I would like to make is that after today's presentation, would give the opportunity for our dearly esteemed viewers who would like to call in to contribute to today's discussion. So if you would like to contribute, to share your thoughts, to share your impressions, to send your congratulatory message to Dr. Sunday, you could do that by going to Facebook Messenger and search for Move Agent. So search for Move Agent on Facebook Messenger and write to us that you would like to call in to contribute to today's discussion. Today, we'll be talking about DSA's rules, and we have a special guest today. But before I introduce him, I got a message earlier today, and I want to just quickly address it. Dr. Sunday is someone who, he says, you can never be in the in-between with him. You either love him or you hate him. You're either a critic or you value what he is offering. But I've also had constant feedbacks from people that these programs have been very impactful. They've learned a lot of lessons. It has motivated them to wanting to live their life and to leave a legacy. So there are people who are grateful, but also there are people who I guess you know already. There are people who have their opinions that this is all about some self-glory, all about worshiping Dr. Sunday and everything. But I want to quickly address it before we have our speaker today. It's an interesting world. But when I started this program, I remember I said that this series of program that would be for this month of May is definitely to celebrate Dr. Sunday's life. It is to celebrate his legacy. It is to celebrate his impact and his influence, which is quite visible. Even a blind man will be able to see it. Even a deaf man will hear about what Dr. Sunday has done. But many people are of the opinion that this is about people coming to worship Dr. Sunday. And I wonder, I'm like, how is worship getting into the equation? Because, maybe people cannot differentiate between honoring people and worshiping people. Because there is a great difference between worshiping and honoring people. What we're doing is that we're honoring Dr. Sunday, and which is a principle of the scripture. Even in the scripture, you would see there that the Bible says that we should honor all men. So honor is a value of God's kingdom. In this kingdom where we live in, we honor people. We love people. So this is different from worshiping someone. We're not saying Dr. Sunday is a god, or we are worshiping him and saying there is no one like him and things like that. Nope. We're just presenting facts of the life that he has lived thus far. And we are honoring God and honoring him for what he has been able to do with his life. But if anyone really follows Dr. Sunday, you would know that Dr. Sunday is a man who honors people. And just a very simple example of Dr. Sunday honoring people. This is his platform. This is Dr. Sunday's platform. And for the past 3 years, Dr. Sunday has been teaching, releasing products, releasing lessons to people for nothing. He's not getting any money. He's not getting paid. Well, many people don't know that this is Dr. Sunday's way of honoring people by releasing what God has taught him these years. But aside from that, if you've been following Dr. Sunday's platform, you would know that Dr. Sunday invites people to speak on his platform. He invites people for kingdom fruits. He invites innovators and people who are in Nigeria who have some amazing ideas or some innovations. And from this platform, many of these people, they've gained relevance. Many of these people, especially those innovators, they've gained sponsors, they've gained clients. All of these are examples of Dr. Sunday honoring people by bringing them to the platform. And he has been doing this for 3 years. But, if we decide to use this period to honor him, just to reciprocate our honor, that we've seen what you've been doing, we've seen your commitment of love, and we want to honor you. Well, I don't think that is a bad idea at all. So, for those who would care to listen, or who wants to at least know why we're doing what we're doing, the Bible says, give honor to whom honor is due. Dr. Sunday has done some things that are deserving of honor. And what we're doing is that we are honoring him. And it's impossible for us to honor Dr. Sunday without giving honor to God. Because definitely, he even tells us that all that he's been able to do is because God has empowered him. So as we honor Dr. Sunday, we are also honoring God in his life. Well, I don't want to spend so much time talking about this, but I just thought it would be nice for me to share my thoughts, so people who are listening and anyone who cares to listen, while we're doing what we're doing, it is because we are honoring Dr. Sunday. We're not worshiping him, and we're celebrating his life and what he has done. But without further ado, I would like to make welcome all the way from Canada, Pastor Derek SCHNEIDER. Good evening to you, sir, from Kyiv, Ukraine.
Thank you, Anu, and good afternoon to you from Canadian time.
Amazing. We're so happy to have you with us today.
Thank you. It's quite an honor.
Wow. You know, you just said the word honor. And I'm sorry I took a part of your time just to give an explanation and to just give some sort of clarification to people who are watching online for them to have an understanding of what we're doing and why we're doing what we're doing. So I hope I'm forgiving.
Well, you absolutely are forgiven, and I would like to comment even on that as well, if possible.
Awesome. Please do. Please do.
Yeah, you know, with you have a dynamic there of a few things going on. Number one is you have the haters and the critics who are motivated by envy.
Yeah.
You know, the scripture says they crucified him because of envy. You
Yeah.
have that dynamic. Number two, why should we wait until the funeral to express in a systematic, planned out, organized way
Yeah.
are what we appreciate about Pastor Sunday? I call him Pastor Sunday, DSA. Why wait until the funeral to organize what we want to say about someone?
Yeah.
So that would be number two. Number three, you know, you covered it, the honor factor. And number four, I would say oftentimes the person who is the catalyst for change gets accused of the things he is trying to change in others.
Hmm.
So a lot of times this is a dynamic of any reformer of, you know, the devil likes to throw it back to discredit the person. And in actuality, many of the issues in the African church and the church globally, uh, these are challenges right now with the worship of man. And we see this, you know, Pastor Sunday has done extensive video comments on this and teachings.
Yeah.
And so it's not surprising that somebody would look for any opportunity, even on the man's birthday celebration.
Even on his birthday celebration, right?
Yeah, they don't sleep. They don't sleep. And what gets missed is, you know, even God honors Pastor Sunday, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And there's no problem in appreciating somebody and explaining why we appreciate him. And someone
Right.
who has such a wealth of, I mean, we've talked about it. Even when you asked me to get into, you know, DSA's rules, there's just so many. And I'm sure everybody felt the same way. There's so much to be said.
Yeah.
And so I don't think there's anything wrong with systematically in an organized way, you know, sharing with the world. It's also for the purpose of others being able to learn and apply the same secrets to their life. Behind every great success
Yeah.
are
Great
great
secrets.
secrets.
Yeah.
Even on his birthday, there is a facilitated opportunity for us all to learn more secrets of how we can get results.
Beautiful.
What a man.
Beautiful. 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 Great. Great comment there. All right. So thank you, Pastor Derek. Well, I believe there's some people who are watching right now who this might be their first time seeing you, and they might want to know a little background of who you are and also your connection with Dr. Sunday.
Absolutely. Well, I'm a pastor in Canada. Formerly a pastor, I pastored for a little over 10 years, and under the direct mentorship of Pastor Sunday Adelaja, I served on and still do on the Apostolic Council for a number of years, his Apostolic Council, and I'm the founder and president of History Makers Academy and History Makers Society in, you know, North America and now the world, really. As Pastor Sunday said on the video he did where he did a feature on HMT and transforming nations, it was highlighted that while he's there locked up in Ukraine, some of us sons are able to go and transform nations. So that's kind of where I fit. Now, on a personal level, I've walked with Pastor Sunday for, I think it's got to be 13 years.
13 years. So that means
Yeah,
you pretty much know him more than many of us.
yeah. think I'm right up there with the Ukrainians to some degree.
Yeah, yeah.
But and not just by email or watching videos. I was, uh, spending the money to fly anywhere in the world that he was,
Wow,
and to be the first one to grab that bag to carry it,
wow.
to be the one that knocks on his door early in the morning, his hotel room door, and say, "I'm ready, sir." Like just really pushing for it, traveling
Hmm.
back and forth to Ukraine, attending everything I could. I mean, you know, building relationship even with the PA so
Hmm.
that I can get close. Aggressive, desiring of real mentorship, paying the price.
Wow.
And so, even on a call like this, I'm speaking from that position today. I wanted to make it a little more relational, the rules that I saw and witnessed based on relationship, not
Hmm.
just research, but relationship.
Wow. Fantastic. Thank you for that introduction. All right, so dear viewers, as you heard it, this is Pastor Derek Schneider, and he will be speaking on DSA's rules. I'm aware that he has his slides ready and he has some of the rules to share with us. So I'd like you to please kindly share this video if you've not done that. And let's sit back, let's get our pen, our book, and let's let the learning process begin. Over to you, Pastor Derek.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to address several categories, I think, today. First would be the personal life. Second, I think we'll look at ministry, marriage, and family. And I've included one point on money, which I have personally witnessed, and I wanted to share about that. But dealing with the personal life, I'm coming from a place of having actually seen these things. We live in an era where many people are preaching, teaching, making videos, sermons, books. Information is just flying back and forth. Uh, it's more rare when somebody practices what they preach and live it out and give us an opportunity to witness that. And one of the things, the first point I'd like to make related to personal, first rule, and he said this to me: never be moved by fear, anxiety, or even disappointment. Never be moved by fear, anxiety, or even disappointment. I find that to be profound because even if we're less fearful people, we are people that get disappointed, and I really saw this with him, that he actually lives by this. He
Wow.
makes something a rule for himself first and then teaches it to others. I remember walking through the house there, and little Pearl, she was younger than his daughter, and she jumped out from behind a corner to play a game with me, and actually startled me. And I said out loud, and I deeply regret saying it. I said, "Oh, you scared me," you know. And I happened to say that exactly as Pastor Sunday was coming down the stairs. And
Wow.
I'll never forget the way he subtly corrected me. Even with a game, he corrected me by saying to Pearl, "Oh, Pearl, a real man is never afraid." And I heard that loud and clear. But what hit me was, and I'm sure he understood the situation, but what really hit me was that this man lives by this and has had to live by this because of all the challenges he's faced and all the opportunities to be truly fearful. And I've seen them over the years. And one of them that really marked me, especially when it comes to fear, anxiety, most people hide that very well. With Pastor Sunday, I've seen him literally confront the potential for fear and anxiety. There was a time years ago when two people had been invited to the police station, and they were thrown into prison with these false allegations and issues with King's Capital. And somebody called the house and said, "Pastor Sunday has now been invited to the police station, and the process was you were arrested and thrown into prison without proper trial." And somebody actually called the house and said, "We've seen the papers have been signed for Pastor Sunday to be put into prison. I was there during this time.
Wow.
And when I heard that, I don't know about you, but I would be a bit of a mess.
You would have tachycardia immediately. Your heart would be bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I know how most people would react, and his reaction shocked me. And
Wow.
I watched it play out because I was staying at the house. First of all, the whole house was thrown into a turmoil and fear. And Pastor Sunday spoke so abruptly and aggressively and said, I will not allow a spirit of fear into my home. And he told everybody to stop it, to calm down. And there was significant proof that this guy was going to prison in a couple days. And so I remember thinking, how does that matter? The guy's got nerves of steel. And he continued with his regular work schedule. Most people would be hitting the floor, or on the next flight out. And so on the day that this was to happen, I mean, the night before, the atmosphere in the house was just, people were mourning as if this was it. Leaders came to the house, and we were all in there eating watermelon, and this is like our last days with our pastor. And the next day, I remember I was the only one, apart from an interpreter and security, I was the only one permitted to go with him to the police station. And this is a true story. So I'm thinking about this, how this man has not crumbled yet. And by the way, he still held a special dinner for me and my wife at the time, and attended the dinner like life is usual, and yet he knows what could be coming. This is the real deal. This is the fortitude of this man. So the next day I'm waiting there by the car, and Pastor Sunday comes bounding down the stairs, and we're going to the police station. And as we're pulling out in the vehicle, everybody's behind the van crying and waving. And he says something to the driver who stopped the vehicle. The door whips open. Now, I'm not exaggerating. I'm telling it. This is a true story.
Wow.
He stands where the door is open. And with somebody interpreting for me, I'm hearing him. He preaches within 5 minutes one of the greatest messages I've ever heard on faith and fearlessness. He gives and it's filled with a massive rebuke for everybody to stop crying. And he says, faith is a shield.
Wow.
Faith is, there was no fear. There was no he didn't have somebody counseling him. His wife isn't there rubbing his back. They're at the church praying. And he delivers this message that is just profound in 5 minutes and rebukes everybody. And he says, I'm coming back. And then when he finishes that, he slumps down at the side there on the way to the police station and looks at me like this. Like this is a man who's in control of his inner environment.
Wow.
Fear is not touching this guy. And he goes, to make the story even more dramatic, yet still true, he takes a nap on the way. This is a true story. Like I saved the best one for the beginning here. One of the best stories. He takes a nap on the way to the police station. And I've seen guys, in the news on their way to the station when they're arrested, this kind of stuff. And you can just see it. They're wearing fear.
Yeah.
They're wearing anxiety. It's in their bones. You can't get it out of you. And this man takes a nap, and we arrive at the police station. And he jumps out, and there's no goodbyes, because in his mind and in his position, he knows what the outcome is. And believe me, there was no faking going on. The papers were signed. He goes into the police station, and 10 minutes later, he walked out. And they invited him to come back the next week. And so he comes out. We go straight to the church where a prayer meeting is happening for him. And straight out of the book of Acts, when he walks into the prayer meeting, the place goes wild. Like, the place goes.
Oh, Jesus.
This is like Paul and Silas stuff,
Wow.
And So he gets up on a chair, stands on a chair, and he's dressed. By the way, he's not dressed in a suit because if he's going to prison, you're not wearing your suit that day. He's wearing cargo pants and this kind of thing, and it's like, you know, in his mind, this could happen. But his inner place was a position of faith and fearlessness.
Jesus.
So he gets up on the chair with a splash coat on and delivers a message for a half hour on faith that rocked everybody's world, jumps back in the car. We go back to the house and he continues his schedule as usual.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
And I say that as being one of DSA's rules. Because I saw that he enforced the rule even on himself.
Wow.
He enforced himself. He raised himself to his own standard. Fearlessness, no disappointment, kicking out anxiety. And that what I saw and was privileged to see has become a marker. I'm not perfect in that area, believe me. But man, I try to live up to that standard, because that really should be the standard of any apostle. Any apostle. To live as Christ, to die as gain. So that would be the first rule I would.
Before you go to the next rule, I just want to say that I had watched a video. I had watched a video of Dr. Sunday going to the prison, and I saw you in that video.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wow.
there was a recording. It's actually on YouTube. He was wearing a I think a brown jacket there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a brown jacket. So
Splash. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, and I couldn't.
You know, I'm telling the truth.
Yes, it's there. It's on YouTube. But, you know, I watched the video, but I didn't know what was, you know, you just watch the video, but you don't know what is happening in between the scenes and everything that is happening, and all of the graphic, just as you painted a very graphic image of what was happening during that time. The video is right there on YouTube, actually. So I wouldn't even think that all of this was happening and Dr. Sunday still had the guts to do a video recording of all of this.
Well, and the fear of the people at the house was like tangible. Like and I really believe there was a demonic element too that was trying to get in, and one man, Sunday Adelaja, stood against it.
Wow.
And you know, and then I remember that video. I think we did a video outside of the police station, but I think that was later.
That was later.
I think so. I think so. But what was interesting was it was like Daniel in the lion's den. Ludmilla said it so well. She said it's like Daniel in the lion's den petting the lions and filming it. You know, here I am. Everything's fine. Let's get this on video. You know, in all of that, where most people, just speaking straight with you, most ministers would have gone home as quickly as possible, not gone into the office, take their wife on a holiday, you know, out, burn out, you know, all of that. And this man continued with his regular schedule and even greeted my wife on the way into the house and said, "Thank you for praying for me. I'm free." You know, this kind of thing. It's just superhero stuff, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Wow.
Shall we do another rule?
Sure, please go ahead. I'm just through right now. Please continue. The next rule.
The second one that I know he lives by is to build your life on principles and break them for no one. Build your life on principles and break them for no one. My personal discovery of this, I know he teaches this. This is something he teaches, and he teaches his principles. He gives them away for free, all of that. But I personally witnessed this when I flew to UK to travel with him. And when I was in London with him, I believe it was London, one night I was in the hotel room, his hotel suite, and there were a number of leaders there and significant people. And they were all sitting there ready to have time with him. And it was late because he had been preaching. And I think around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, Pastor Bose called the hotel room. Or he called her, or one or the other. And I'll never forget, he made us all wait as he talked with his wife.
Wow.
Now you have to understand, coming from a North American context, and the man of God, and your wife comes last on the list. Pastor Bose calls, and I'm listening to him talking to her, and he's having casual husband conversation, asking about the kids. I remember he said to her, no, go to the event, but give a presence, walk through the church. He's instructing her in how to do things. And as time went on, one by one, these leaders that were there, these important guys, got up and were leaving, because everybody realized this guy's on the phone with his wife. And it hit me as I stayed. I was the last one to stay. Like, I was there while he was having soup after. I said I realized this was wife time. This was a principle. There was a law at work here that he was obeying, rather than being pulled by the presence of important people. And that rocked my world. And if you know him and his routines, you find out that when it's wife time, it's wife time. And, he schedules his life in such a way to give 100% to what the season calls for. Yeah. So in that moment, so the next morning when I came to get him from the room, I said, Pastor, I think I figured out your secret. I said, you build your life. This is years ago, before he's giving away all this stuff, I said, you build your life on principles, not emotions, feelings, or people. You build your life on, and he laughed and laughed and laughed. I said, I saw what happened last night. And he quoted that scripture, God exalts his word even above his name. He exalts his principles above his name. God lives by laws and principles and rules. And that, I think, is one of the most notable things I've come to see about Pastor Sunday. So I never forgot that. One by one, these guys getting up and leaving, because it's wife time. Wife
time. Wife time is wife time. No one would take that. Wow.
That's exactly right. The third rule, similar to that one, you'll hear him say, is priorities are supreme. Priorities are supreme. And I've seen this in his personal life, where he will not break them. His priorities that he sets and schedules in such a way, he maintains them. You can even arrive at the house, and if he's on prayer retreat, you're just not going to see him. It's really a principle of any wise king, because it's found in Ecclesiastes. It's found in the wisdom books. Typically, we think to be spiritual, we're moved by every wind. But with him, he understands that aspect of wisdom, which is to everything there is a season.
Yeah.
What you'll find with Pastor Sunday is, the scripture will say a time to, build up, and a time to tear down.
Yeah.
When you see Pastor Sunday building up, he does it to such a degree that you think this man never tears down.
Very true.
But then when the season changes, or the schedule calls for something else and he's tearing down, you think this man would never build up.
You're so spot on. You're so spot on.
So I realized whatever the season or schedule, whatever the priority is, he goes in 120% to the point that you would think. And I've seen this in God. When God destroys, when God closes that door is locked. And you think this is a God who doesn't open doors. But then when God opens the door, you think this is a God who doesn't close doors. So I have only seen Pastor Sunday able to manage an entire lifestyle that way, where he has priorities laid out for marriage, priorities for ministry, priorities for money, priorities for, this is Solomon. This is an aspect of wisdom. This is kingship. This is how you manage. This is how you govern. I get excited talking about it, because you who are watching this, if you can take this and apply it to your life, you begin to function in a similar way, getting 100% reaping from every area you invest 100%.
Wow. Pastor Derek, as you say this, many people just watch Dr. Sunday online. At least for the past 3-4 years, Dr. Sunday was more into the Russians. So, but many English-speaking people, they just heard about his greatness. They heard so much about his success. But what you're saying is that part in an iceberg that very few people are aware of.
You got it.
And very few people know DSA. You know, many people just say, oh, it's not DSA, I know him. Is it not Pastor Sunday? I know the Pastor Sunday. It's Pastor Sunday. It's Pastor Sunday. He's the one who comes and he's doing the Elijah challenge. He's challenging. He's an antichrist. Look at him. He's just against the church. And look, I know Pastor Sunday. Okay.
It's why the Bible warns against judging the person.
Yeah.
Because you will never know what God knows or what someone who is close to him knows. So even when you look at, let me tell you, if everything that was said about him was true, do you think Pastor Bose would still be there?
Definitely.
Really? You know, like you see his family intact. You see, this is from years of investment, living by his standards, living by his principles. The people closest to him who really know him are still here because of they know the iceberg. That's the reality. And so a lot of people have come and gone from that house and that place. And I'm not talking about Ukrainian leaders. I'm talking about visitors, foreigners. And you think, it's just like when you hear a great sermon, you think you got the message, but you were only inspired.
I experienced that a lot.
You think you got the message, but you were only inspired.
No.
And so that's the deception of inspiration.
Yes.
Deception of inspiration. So you have to really get close, and this requires time, energy, and he's got to hit you with that again and again and again until the word becomes flesh in you. So people talk, the saying, talk is cheap.
Yeah.
Talk is cheap, So shall we do another rule?
Yes, sir.
We're still on personal life. We just covered priorities are supreme. You know what? Right now might be a good time to go to the video related to gratitude.
Okay.
We have some video footage.
All right. So I think we have the video here. Yeah, the video. Yeah, let's have the video.
Еще раз проговорим этот урок.
You remember I gave you the lesson in the beginning?
Помните, я давала вам список уроков.
I gave you that lesson.
Я говорил уже о нем в начале, об этом уроке.
Express gratitude.
Будьте благодарными, выражайте благодарность.
While you can.
Пока вы можете это сделать.
Because
потому что
one day might come
может прийти время,
that you will not be able to do it.
Когда вы не сможете этого сделать.
Express gratitude while you can now.
Выражайте благодарность, пока вы можете это сделать.
It might not be possible soon after.
Потому что потом это может быть уже невозможно.
That's what happened to me with my grandmother.
Это случилось со мной и с моей бабушкой.
While I was crying, I ran to the forest to commit suicide there. Then the men of the village came after me and got me out of there.
Я так плакал, потом побежал в лес, чтобы убить себя. И мужчины из деревни, они просто меня вызволили из этого леса, забрали меня.
It was not the death alone that made me to do that, but the regret.
И это не только ее смерть заставила меня бежать в этот лес, но сожаление.
That she couldn't even see me as a good boy.
Сожаление, что она так и не увидела меня хорошим мальчиком.
The regret that I couldn't even say thank you to her.
Сожаление, что я даже не мог сказать ей спасибо.
The regret that I couldn't do anything good to her.
Сожаление, что я больше ничего доброго ей не мог сделать.
I couldn't prove to her that I was different.
Я не мог доказать ей, что я изменился.
just too much of regrets.
Очень много сожалений.
Because she gave her life for me. She made me who I was, and I couldn't say thank you. That is beyond me.
Потому что она положила всю свою жизнь на меня, а я даже не смог сказать ей спасибо. Это было больше меня.
So that lesson, you don't have to repeat my mistake. Learn it from me. Learn from another man's mistake.
И этот урок, выучите его от меня. Вам не нужно повторять его, чтобы выучить. Научитесь учиться на уроках других людей.
That's why I, together with Galina, wrote that book, How to Avoid the Greatest Regret in Life. There is no regret. So far, no pain. I've had a lot of pains through my life now. A lot of pains, but no pain compares to that pain of regret.
И поэтому я написала книгу вместе с Галиной «Как избежать наибольшего сожаления в жизни». Потому что у меня много трудностей и много болей, но вот такой боли я больше никогда в жизни не чувствую.
So you can avoid it.
А вы можете избежать этого.
Express gratitude today.
Будьте благодарны сегодня.
Express gratitude
Выражайте благодарность
in a
сегодня.
small way.
Выражайте благодарность маленькими вещами.
Express gratitude anyhow.
Выражайте благодарность каким угодно образом.
Express gratitude every day.
Выражайте благодарность каждый день.
In little ways.
В небольших вещах, в мелочах.
In little ways.
В мелочах.
In little things.
В небольших вещах. Небольшими способами, любыми способами.
Wow, that was I think that is from the 25th anniversary. Dr. Sunday speaking on gratitude. I can't even wait for Pastor Derek to share his thoughts on on why he chose to talk about gratitude. But I was definitely super blessed by this message. It made me see the importance of gratitude. But I would like to hear from Pastor Derek. Why did you choose to show us this video?
We know that one of Pastor Sunday's rules is to express gratitude. And we're even doing that now, in what we're sharing and all of that. But many people don't catch the second part of that, which is you may never get another chance. You may never get another chance. Here you're seeing what's driving him. So it's not just a rule, express gratitude, while you still can. You have him saying, you may never get another chance. This was born out of what he calls the three greatest teachers in life: pain, shock, and regret. And if you go into the story of his life and what he had experienced, this came from the pain of losing his grandmother, who she went to the hospital, as I think you would have heard there, and she ended up dying before he could say thank you to her. And when you look at the man he is today, you can be sure that the more he does and accomplishes, the more he wants to say thank you to this woman.
Yeah.
But he never did. And out of that, you're seeing the secret here. Out of that pain, the shock, and the regret, he is advising us, yes, be grateful. We know where to be grateful. We know where to express gratitude, but we don't know why. We just do it out of maybe just honor. But he's saying, you may never get another chance. That's not just good advice. That's a rule he lives by that was born out of deep, deep regret that maybe he lives with daily. And so, that's a real rule with a real example right there that I think was important.
Wow. Fantastic.
Express gratitude while you can. You may never get another chance. Wow.
And just like what you started with, speaking about people who are critics, who are saying, why are we doing what we're doing? And you said, come on, it's better we do it before it's funeral.
Before the funeral.
Yeah. So while we have the opportunity to be grateful, why not take that opportunity? Because you might never have another chance to do that. Profound.
Absolutely. What a gift you can give to somebody. to be able to really say, hey, we recognize what you live by. We recognize these things about you, and we want to live that way too. There's no better birthday gift you can give Pastor Sunday than transformational results.
True, 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 true.
So, well, let's get into another rule. We've covered gratitude. The next rule would be the best at everything you do.
That one, it is, if there's any rule that is challenging, that one is a quite challenging rule right there.
Let me tell you, I would hate to be the other boxer boxing against. Pastor Sunday plays the long game, believe me. Whether you're the government or whether you're trying to do YouTube videos, come on. I think Pastor Sunday has more video teachings than the founder of Scientology, the original guy. That they have they have people working night and day on putting his words, his videos and his words into some kind of tablets that will last for 1,000 years or something. Pastor Sunday actually has released more. And in just a few years.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. So you're not going to out YouTube him. You're not going to out Twitter him. You're not going to out Revelation. You know, the man, it really puts everything into what he does. And the mistake people make is they often think this is just a grace or God. It's just God that's doing. When we don't understand how, or when we're deeply insecure about our own lack of work ethic, we just blame God. God obviously has
anointing.
But what people don't see is he opened up his iPad and showed me his files where he has what could be, I don't remember the number, but there's at least just hundreds of messages, sermons. And like he's walked me through some and showed me how he sets it all up. And it's so when he gets up and says, yeah, I have hundreds of this or 1,000 of this, I've seen this. He has them laid out, and this is somebody who doesn't just prepare messages, he has to prepare 500 messages. If you're going to do YouTube, he prepares 1,000 YouTube videos. If you're going to fight with him, Pastor Sunday is highly competitive. And I want to explain what I mean by competitive. So when he says be the best at everything you do, he's not just talking about be excellent. Because everybody's standard of excellence is different. It's relative.
Yeah.
For him, he's talking about literally aim for the number one spot. Aim for the number one. That's different than be excellent.
Yeah.
He's saying go for the number one position. Don't go for silver, go for gold. And that's the standard he sets for himself. So that's why you generally find with him, whatever he sets his mind to, I doubt you'll see him as a close second in anything. In anything, it's just his nature. I think it comes from childhood as an athlete. As you know, I just think it's just part of him. He must compete, but compete not in the sense of putting someone else down or being better than someone else. He just holds that standard for himself. There is no spot other than number one.
I tell you, that was so true. Today we went for our for the daily exercise, and we had a brisk walk. And what you're saying was one of the things we discussed about today.
Oh wow!
I tell you, I mean, Dr. Sunday was sharing his own personal experience on when they invite him to have interviews with different people just to win him, I mean, or to conquer him, or to just to prove that this guy is missed it. And he was telling us that the Ukrainians and the Russians, they had no way to explain. They just had to say that this guy is either an hypnotist or he's using voodoo. Because when he speaks, he floors every other speaker.
It's the supernatural power of work ethic.
I tell you, he said, he went further and said they had to bring in someone from Russia who was the best to come and have a combative interview with him. He said at the end of the day, you know what happened? The people who invited that guy from Russia and the guy who came from Russia, they had to start fighting with him. They were telling him that, but we brought you here so that you can floor him. How did you allow this Sunday Adelaja, this black man, to floor you in this interview?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Dr. Sunday.
In fact,
yeah.
Fighting with him, they don't realize that fighting with him brings the best out of him. You are asking for trouble. If you put, and this goes back even, not just his work ethic, but it is his upbringing. He had to fight for everything. He had to fight for survival. I believe he comes from a warring tribe.
Yes.
So when you go to compete, you're awakening him in his natural habitat.
Spot on. Very true.
You're awakening the best in him when you fight with him. And also people don't realize how he thinks, his critical thinking and his strategic thinking. So here's an example. We're sitting there with a bunch of leaders and we're talking about the issues of the church. And I say, I made the mistake of saying, Pastor Sunday, do you realize how bad it is in North America? As if I know something he doesn't know, right? And his answer, I'll never forget it because it really brought you in to see how he thinks. On the spot, he said, this was the way he responded. After traveling to whatever hundreds of countries, are you aware of how bad it is globally? Like, if you understand how he played me there, it was like, oh, you're talking about North America. Let me talk about the world. Oh, it just, the way he said it. So again, I'm saying, Pastor, are you aware how bad it is where I live in North America? And he says, the question is, are you aware how bad it is all over the world? And you're putting your play, and that's him hanging out. That's how he's thinking.
Wow.
So I've actually seen him very merciful. Like, if you understand how he thinks, you will find him absolutely merciful to the ignorant things people say and do.
Oh,
he's extending you mercy.
You just got it. You got it.
He's extending you. He's got high emotional intelligence. So he won't, if he chooses to publicly go in on you, then, it's intentional. He's rarely functioning from emotion. But when I've seen times where I'm just like, oh, this guy's going to get it. This guy is going to get it. And Pastor just, oh, yeah.
All of these things you're saying, you have to be close to Pastor Sunday to see this. And I agree with you. Sometimes I'll be like, no, yes, this person just got himself to that point where you're going to get it hard from Dr. Sunday. And to my surprise, Dr. Sunday will just pass by like nothing happened. I'm like, I noticed that.
Yeah, because he's weighing things out. He weighs things out strategically in milliseconds. So he's thinking of maybe time. He's thinking of, oh, I know this guy doesn't usually apply what I say, so I'm not going to waste my words. He's thinking all of that in a second. And his emotions are under control generally. So he's not, everything's highly strategic in his execution. If he does correct you publicly, and he understands how Canadians are wired. So even in the way he's corrected me, like he does things in such a way, he knows what I can handle and what I can't. Like when I was younger, I said, Pastor, I want you to correct me to really, I'm your son. And he looked at me and said, no, you don't. And I said, no, Pastor, I want you to correct me. And he kept, no, you don't. So usually when he's not addressing you that way, he's having mercy on your ignorance because he knows it's like. And again, I want to be careful not to give the critics any
Something,
ammunition,
yeah, something to
but
talk about.
uh, it, it's like where the scripture says that God is mindful that we are but dust. So God relates to us on our level.
Yeah, well, true.
And anybody who's so developed, not just intellectually and accomplished and achieving, but emotional intelligence, he knows how to relate to you on your level, and that's the nature of Jesus.
Beautiful. Wow. Great. You know, Pastor Derek, you're bringing a whole lot of hidden aspects of Dr. Sunday that many people don't know. Great.
Well, that was my strategy today.
Amazing.
Yeah, to bring something from people will remember these stories and it'll stay with them.
Amazing. Amazing.
All right, shall we continue?
Oh, yes, sir.
Let me know when we're out of time. Another one for personal, last one for personal life. The rule of working on yourself in a prison of self-development.
Wow.
Working on yourself through a prison of self-development. What he means by a prison of self-development is your schedule and lifestyle, making it impossible for you to have too much comfort. What time do you wake up? What time do you do this? If you look at how the prison system works, many people who would never on the street get a law degree end up getting a law degree while in prison. Why? It's because of the routine, regimented nature of it that's bringing the best out of some of them. So Pastor Sunday understands this principle, so his life is highly scheduled.
Yeah.
Generally, now he may have changed this since him and I talked about it, but generally, you know, he'll tithe. He'll give 1/10 of his time to God, so 2.5 hours out of 24 hours a day. He has a wake-up time. He sleeps as best as he can. He's been trying to increase his sleep from 4 hours to more. And he has a time to do this, a time to do that, and the whole day is set up like a prison so that he's always developing, he's always growing, even if he doesn't feel like it. And that's the secret there. Most people do what they feel like doing. Pastor Sunday can do what he doesn't feel like doing. Most people can do what they feel like doing. Pastor Sunday, the schedule and the prison, no matter what he feels like, puts a demand on him to continue to grow, puts a demand on him to have dinner with the family, puts a demand on him to pray, puts a demand on him to read. Everything he sets up is based on principle and schedule and law, so that no matter what situation he's in, he's always growing. His growth capacity, and this is through crisis. The guy is growing. Like he's grown. Every time you meet with him and visit with him, it's like the man has grown to another, and you think you're right in the middle of life crisis on all sides, and his growth curve doesn't stop. When we have a bad day, we don't pick up that book. You know, a lot of us, we're eating Chinese food, watching TV, you know, this kind of thing, and he is regimented.
Wow.
Regimented.
Wow. Before you go to your next slide, as you're speaking, I remember one of his quotes that when I heard it, it really it shifted something in me. And he says that success would always demand from you more than you're willing to give.
That is so good. So good. And that again is where he lives up to his own standard. His competitive nature is, okay, success is fighting with me now. I'm going to rise to what success is demanding from me. This is the mindset of like all-star athletes. This is the mindset of the elite you're seeing, and he gives it away so freely. Like his prayer retreats are another good example of that. I think his prayer retreats that he did for years, a full week per month. I mean, it's unthinkable. And I remember when I said to him, Pastor, you know, I'm not at the week level, but but I'll do 3 days a month. And he said, Derek, if you do 3 days a month, you're doing more than 99% of pastors are doing. And now I'm teaching this to pastors to do the same, and they're getting breakthroughs. But his prayer retreats, again, is a prison. And
That's
I
like
remember
he calls it, I think that you're saying is solitude, right?
solitude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting that he even uses that word, because when we think of solitary confinement, is a prison term.
Yeah.
And so when I first incorporated this and would go away for 3 days, and there's nothing but a chair, a bed, and a bathroom, and you're just like, oh, no social media, no eating, feels like a prison. But you get in touch with God. Your life changes. You begin to see yourself above. You're looking down on your problems. You know, you have the wisdom of what to arrange and what to do. Massive secret. I can't imagine a minister. I can't imagine a human being in ministry that wouldn't have times of solitude, scheduled times of solitude. You are not qualified for ministry if you don't have times of solitude. Pastor Sunday got it right. He got it right. And for many reasons. Like, I could do a whole episode on the secrets of that solitude. Yeah. There's just too much to say about that, because I've lived it for the last 5 years. That was probably one of the greatest things he ever told me to do, and he lives by it. I've arrived there in Ukraine, like flew all the way there and had to wait days to see him because he's in solitude.
That's how it is.
Because he's not breaking his principle for you. But he also understands the power of momentum. So if he breaks, when we cut corners and break things and aren't consistent, we don't get to take advantage of the power of momentum towards great breakthroughs.
Yeah.
So it's why Thomas Edison sat in the laboratory for so many hours and just wouldn't leave. It's time and chance. You're getting nearer towards the appointed time of creating the light bulb. Pastor Sunday understands this, so he'll be consistent. He'll go again. He'll do it again. One video in the morning, one video at night. One video in the morning, and you watch this accumulating wave of even controversy, and he continues. And why? So that at the end of the day, he's standing on top of that mountain of dung, and everybody's heard the message. And you find out the man was right.
Amazing. Amazing. Before you move to your next slide, I would just like to say some words to our viewers, at least so they get to know. Well, this is DSA'S Rose and Woven, listening to Pastor Derek SCHNEIDER from Canada. I would like to encourage those who just joined in. If you've not shared this video, please kindly share. Share it on your timeline, share it to groups that you belong to. You could also share it to your friends and your family members. He's just spoken about the personal rules of Dr. Sunday, and he has 3 more. So I believe that there are many things that he's sharing with us from the story and from the life of Dr. Sunday that we can use in our lives. So I would like you to please kindly share, invite your friends. And like I said before, we'll be having callers after Pastor Derek is done with his presentation. So if you would like to call to contribute, to share your thoughts, your impressions, you could go to Facebook Messenger from now. You can begin to register your intent to call in when the time comes, and we would call you. All right. So we'll go back to Pastor Derek to continue his presentation.
Excellent. Well, let's jump into some ministry rules that I wrote down under the category of ministry. Number 1, never pass by anyone. Never pass by anyone. And anybody who knows Pastor Sunday knows that that's a rule of his life. I've seen him live it out, and his belief in that is because he knows what it's coming from empathy. So anybody who says Pastor Sunday is not empathetic and accuses him of narcissism or accuses him of this stuff, they don't understand. They've never seen the empathy that flows from him towards others. It's a reality. And that's the tough part about knowing him from a distance is you see the stage, you see the videos, but you weren't with me walking around the property as he stops by the garbage collector, he stops by the, and greets them, touches them, encourages them. And it's just natural for him. I got to go with him to another meeting in another part of Ukraine where there were some really big name speakers there. T.D. Jakes was there, I think, Pastor Paula White. And Pastor Sunday's trying to walk through the building and people are grabbing him. They want him to touch them, you can't walk a few feet without him stopping, taking their hands. Like, this is somebody who doesn't seem to be getting tired of people. And so when he says never pass by anyone, I have seen this to be so everywhere he goes. And it's not just relational capacity. It's the nature of Jesus that he has formed within himself through solitude.
Wow.
Never pass by anyone. And that comes from, his upbringing of being on the street, as he says, almost, like people passed by him. And if you've ever been homeless, there's no kind of isolation like homelessness or rejection.
True.
And so when people pass by you, it's stirring this in you. He seems to understand that somehow. So even as he's been elevated by life, ministry, and God, he has remained accessible. Even when you show up at his house, you're not passing by him. He's not passing by you. You're encountering him. People think they know what I'm saying right now, but it's way bigger than what they're getting right now, unfortunately. You can be by email miles away on the other part of the world, and he's not passing by you. He's replying to you. Think about that.
Wow.
And he's inviting you to come to his house so that he's not passing you by. That is a manifestation of the nature of Jesus Christ. Anyways, next one under ministry. This is so him. Never put off to tomorrow what can be done today. That's a life principle, a life rule, but I've watched him squeeze more into a day, where I've heard him say, well, why don't you do it now?
Yeah.
Or what you could do on the plane. I say, when I get home, I'm going to, and he'll say, how about you could begin on the plane? He's looking because he knows tomorrow has more tasks.
True.
He sent a congratulatory message to me at the highest point of a fever he had, because I had to fit it into his day. This is just the way he operates. He lives by this. Number 3, related to ministry, build systems and live by a daily schedule. I think we all understand one of the unique aspects of Pastor Sunday's ability in ministry relates to system building, living by a daily schedule. I did a research. I came and lived there for a month years ago and did research on the church because I was trying to figure out, why they're calling this a nation within a nation and why they're having the effect they are. It's literally a church without walls, and I couldn't figure out how it was all held together without master control and total dependence on him. And really, to see his church, I had to be driven around the city and beyond, interviewing all these people. And I'm like, how is this all? It was complex systems and control systems that were put in place so well, they make an airport look bad.
Wow.
You're losing your bag at the airport, but with God Embassy, the systems were, just tight, just tight. So that's a major rule. He builds his life and his ministry by systems, and that's actually what gave them the exponential, not just growth. People often try to grid ministry results by how big your church is. Embassy of God went far beyond that to influence, and they use system building to do that. And that's another video on its own.
Pastor Derek, before you go to the next point, I want to ask you a question, just to interject, because, thus far, for the past days now, we've had black people, Africans, call and share their testimonies. You're the first white person we're seeing. You're the first white person we're seeing, and you're not European, but you are Canadian. You're from America. But you know, there's a stereotype that many whites have, Europeans, Americans, and the stereotype that they have, the stereotypical thinking that they have is they are some sort superior to blacks. And by the mere virtue of them being white and another person being black, they sort of think that there's nothing they can learn from a black man.
Yeah.
But this is a white person I'm seeing, only if my eyes are deceiving me. But I'm seeing a white man who is from one of the leading nations of the world, from Canada, a Canadian, who is speaking and who is talking about valid, deep principles, and not just principles, but rules that you have learned from a black man. What does that mean to you as a white man? And what do you have to say about that stereotypical thinking that most white people have? I don't know. I think they still do have it right now.
Definitely.
I want to just get your opinion as a white man.
Well, I think there's a couple layers to it. One is it might be different in America, in the United States. But in Canada still, there are enough cultural things to keep me from following. And especially in Nigeria.
God bless you. In Nigeria.
That's another level of black. You know,
Nigerian is another level of black. Yeah, it'll have been easier for you to say you're fluent in South African, anyways.
Yeah. And so the distance couldn't be further from a passive, quiet, composed Canadian.
Wow.
The gap couldn't be further. But with me, first of all, wisdom knows no color. You know, wisdom transcends all of that. And I'm somebody that's a respecter of wisdom and the wise. I understand what it takes to build. But I think with me, it's also unique in how we met. You know, God ordained this. And I remember when he said, Derek, you can't change who you are just like. I'm going to send you a mentor from a totally different culture, totally different country. And then I met Sunday Adelaja. And for me, I saw a very good opposite of the passivity and religiosity I had grown up in. But see, that in itself is not just the only phenomenon. This is actually another secret to why the church grew. You're talking about Ukraine. You know, these people are coming from orthodoxy. They're coming from racism on a level that they're accusing black people of having tails. You know, they used to ask Pastor Sunday, did you have your tail removed when you were in Moscow? Like, this is it's a level of ignorance that's on another planet. You know, you couldn't be further opposed. And so you have Ukrainians that are coming from orthodoxy who aren't even comfortable clapping in church. And this man comes in full throttle, breaks the back of all of those mentalities. And so what you had was the church wasn't growing at first. But when drug addicts and different people were being delivered, these people all had family that weren't addicts, that were racist. But they said, look, we just don't care what color he is. All I know is my sister was an addict, and now she's not an addict. I don't care what color he is. So all of the poor and all of the broken, and it's the same with Jesus, is it didn't matter who this guy. I don't know who he was. All I know is I was lame and now I'm walking. All I know is I was blind and now I see. Yeah. So so for you to bring race into this, you have to be really sort of blinded to something. You have to have a prejudice that's just so thick it's borders on demonic. Because if you know God, he uses what is to you the foolish things, or he uses to you what is a foreign thing, or he likes to do the opposite. He sends a Nigerian to Ukraine. He sends so-and-so he likes to do it that way.
Beautiful.
And this is why Pastor Sunday's greatest challenge is ahead of him, which is going to his own people. And biblical history shows your own receive you not.
That's right.
But he's going there as an instrument of judgment. He's a catalyst.
Wow. Thank you for answering my question, sir.
Yeah.
Great. You could.
All right.
Yeah,
So
you could go to the next point.
another one would be related to ministry. He says, all attacks must become the reason to do more. All attacks must become the reason to do more. That's twofold for him. One is the competitive nature again. If you attack him, he's not only going to love you in return, he's going to make you better than you were before you attacked him.
You might need to expatiate on that. You might need to break that down.
Well, on a very small scale, if you're the guy in the street yelling at him and calling him a monkey, he not only is going to meet your aggression with love, because he knows love is the victory. So he's going to hold the number one spot through spiritual judgment.
Wow.
But then he's also going to hug you. He's also going to love you. He's also going to send money to you. He's also going. You won't win that battle.
Wow.
So for him, what was it that I said? All attacks must become the reason to do more. African church, you've got to understand, when you attack him, you are fueling the reformer. You are just giving him more energy. You are giving him more motivation. You are giving him greater platform. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
You are only fueling his mission. You are confirming the reason for which he was sent. Oh.
Wow. Because it has always placed people in a state of bewilderment. They're always bewildered because they would expect Sunday Adelaja today to be drowned. With all of the things that has gone, the scandals, the fights, getting a persona non grata from Russia, one would expect this man to just be done, like he would just be grounded. But it's like with every attack, with every challenge, with every persecution, with every attack he gets, it just takes him to a whole new level. And then more attack, a greater level.
Yeah. Because for him, not only does it cause him to, not only does it affirm his mission, it affirms the things which he's trying to change. It gives him a reason. It gives him a fuel to wake up that day. And also, it almost gives him joy in the midst of the battle. Like I have seen times where you just absolutely think it's enough, and the man is laughing, smiling, and you start to be like, oh, okay, well, why am I so stressed out that I'm carrying this stress for you, and you're fine, So he not only rises to the occasion, he multiplies it to bring about a victory. He turns the negative into a positive, like eating breakfast. And I'm not holding back on my words with this, because some people think that, maybe I'm blinded to something, or I'm just far away in Canada and don't know what's going on. So I'm speaking from a real place of experience.
Wow.
Each of these we could do an hour on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another one under ministry, vision and purpose must be above comfort or fun. Vision and purpose must be above comfort or fun. Now, where did I get that rule from? He allowed me to sit in his last moments with Perez, his oldest son, before sending Perez to university, to school. And Pastor Sunday instructed him with rules, profound rules. One of them was that vision and purpose should be above comfort and fun. And it was ideal to say that to your son, who you're sending off to. Most parents, when they send their kids to university, you know, there's all kinds of stuff that goes on. But he really built into Perez rules to live by. Rules to live by. And I've stayed at the home where Perez was staying in UK. And I've seen Perez's study habits and work. And that's no ordinary boy. None of them are ordinary, because of the rules that Pastor Sunday has laid out for them that are wisdom.
Wow.
Another one under ministry, but also personal. It's not about how little you sleep, but how productive you are during the day. It's not about how little you sleep, but how productive you are during the day. Now, this, a lot of people don't know, that Pastor Sunday used to place more emphasis on sleeplessness for a number of years. In fact, it was so much to the point, my first trip when he came to Canada, it was like his second time coming to Canada, or first time. He was in Saskatchewan, and we were all in the hotel suite, and there were a bunch of Nigerian people there, and then this white young guy sitting there. It was going on like 4 a.m. And we had meetings the next day, like all day. And it was going on so late. And I'm sitting there and I'm going like this. I cannot stay awake. I cannot keep my head up any longer. And finally, the lady next to me leaned over and she said, you know, it's okay. You can go to your room and go to sleep. And when I got up, this is a true story. When I got up, Pastor Sunday didn't even look up from whatever he was doing. And all he said was, you couldn't make it.
Wow.
You couldn't.
Wow.
I felt so bad for going to bed. And I've seen his lifestyle that way of sleeplessness. And I'm talking real sleeplessness. I can tell stories of him flying in from somewhere, teaching all day. The next morning, I'm invited to his room and the bed hasn't been slept in. Stuff like that. But over time and years, he began to understand health. You know, the doctor was advising him on, more sleep. So he was trying to sleep more than 4 hours. But he had been so used to that lifestyle. So I understood he had a new philosophy when he said, sleep as much as you can. It's not about how little you sleep. It's about how productive you are during the day. And a lot of today's top CEOs, business people, only now have an understanding of that.
Amazing. Wow.
All right.
Great.
Let's do one more for ministry.
Okay.
Love everyone. Love everyone. That's him. And that I just couldn't possibly convey on this time today. But this is somebody who lives by the law of love. Everything he does is motivated by love. Even if he doesn't know how to love you, he'll see the Jesus in you and loves Jesus by loving you. That's his motivation. Do unto the least of these. He functions that way. And anything that is in him that's working against his ability to love you, he's trying to crucify. You have to know that. Like, if you are lucky enough to see a struggle or the humanness or the flesh emerge, what you don't realize, and this is what the critics try to jump on, is okay, well, we spotted this or that, and they're trying to point this out, and they don't realize he's already set up he's already done prayer retreats on it. He's already looked up every scripture pertaining to it. He's already built a system to begin a process of crucifying that part of him. So by the time you come to critique him on something you spotted in his humanness, you're already late. You're way behind. You know, he's already doing things that you can't even dream of doing. And that's why it's just better for you to worry about your own life. Again, this is why we're not to be judging, because you don't know the relationship. You don't know what somebody's going through. This is why God judges based on the heart. So when he says, you know, Saul, he knew his work. He knew his ways, his works. And he rejected Saul, but he loved David. He accepted David because he knew David's ways. He knew what was in David's heart. And that was the qualification for it. So you're crazy to judge on the level that some people judge and criticize. You reveal your own ignorance because you do not know what's going on within the heart of such a man and his relationship with God.
Profound.
Where were you? Where were you when Pastor Sunday was taking a week, a month of total seclusion? Where were you when he's up in the night, when he's putting his feet in buckets of cold water to stay awake to pray? Where were you? What were you doing? Were you keeping that prayer schedule? Do you know the word as he knows it? So, you know, it's easy to throw stones at the guy on the pedestal, and finally you see him, you know, react in the flesh, or something happens and you jump on the guy. Okay, we got him. And you have no idea that God is fighting for him, you know, standing with him, affirming him, loving him, that God sees him as a son. People should be careful.
Amazing. Amazing. You know, Pastor Derek, what you just said is so good and so profound and so true, because Dr. Sunday has tried to say this many times, and he has referred to himself as perhaps the chief sinner, as Paul called himself. And he has said, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm a human being. And also when he addresses all of the things that are wrong in the mainstream Pentecostal and charismatic churches in Nigeria, he has said it times without number. I'm not judging these people personally. I'm not judging their private life. I don't know what they are having with God. I don't know. So why would I judge them as a person? But I'm talking about their practice. And he has said it, just like you talked about the last rule here, that he loves people. He loves everyone. And he has said it, I love them. I love these people I'm talking about. But listen, I'm not judging them as individuals. I'm judging their doctrines. I'm judging their practices. I'm judging what is not in line with the truth that is in the Word of God. But you know, somehow people don't get it. But I hope with what you've explained right now, using Dr. Sunday as an example, maybe we would have more percentage of people who will be able to understand Dr. Sunday and why he does what he does.
Yeah, and you have to know, Pastor Sunday is his own greatest critic. Long before you're trying to critique him, he's critiquing him. He's working on him. This is the man who's practically founded an entire doctrine on working on yourself. In an era of church history where it's such religiosity. Only God can change me. I'm just waiting on God. You know, my father was this way. His father was that way. You know, God understands. In an era of such irresponsibility, Pastor Sunday understands sanctification. He understands doctrine. He understands theology. You know, you're looking at somebody that took the love chapter, began his ministry, and went away on retreats and said, I will not read the rest of the Bible until the love chapter is manifested in me. Who has ever said, who do you know? You're talking about a man whose natural default is radical. His natural default, he's a maximalist. So by the time you have critiqued, you better hope he doesn't turn around and critique you. Because
it wouldn't be so nice.
Yeah. And this is really what has protected me from the noise. Because some people have said, Pastor Derek couldn't possibly know what's going on. Or some people have said, well, Pastor Derek is just
Naive.
enamored with hype. You know, they try to, I've heard people have quoted to me what significant people have said about me. They've said, Pastor Derek is strange to us, you know, that he's from North America, he doesn't know better. You know, they've said all this kind of stuff, and they don't realize you really have to be in God. You really have to have a revelation of what Jesus did for you, your own stuff, and the journey that God walks you through in sonship. When I went through my worst crisis, and I called Pastor Sunday, I was so afraid to tell him, you know, that I was going through this divorce and this situation. And I remember he said to me, Derek, I said to him, why was I so afraid to talk to you about this? And he said, Derek, you think that if you do this many good things, it means you're a good boy. And if you do this many bad things, it makes you a bad boy. So you're a good boy today, bad boy tomorrow. You're eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. You're not eating from the tree of life. And he explained to me, and his words, these were his words, but a son is always accepted. A son is always accepted. That was freeing.
Wow.
And to me, that's the balanced and relevant message of grace. That's the right grace message. If you're a son,
You're always
accepted. Always accept. Because a son is not rejecting God and walking away in rebellion, and a son makes mistakes. And he gave me permission to be a son instead of a slave.
Wow.
So because I know his mentality, as he goes through things, I'm thinking of, like, let's say a man goes through the most difficult time in his life that's really warranted because of whatever. You've got to believe that a son comes out the other side. God does not leave Jesus in the grave.
Come on now.
God is not leaving his son in the grave. And so I want to be on the other side of that resurrection. I want to be there for the inheritance.
Wow.
And not in a posture of I want to get. I'm a son.
Yeah.
I want to be there for the resurrection.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing what he's about to do. How God is going to use Pastor Sunday in the next phase of his life. And you just have to be wise to track with a man like that. You have to stay close. Yeah.
You know, before you move to your next point, you know, Dr. Sunday used to say that many people, they hear this, but they think he's being braggadocious. But he says this: for anyone who is opportuned to come close to him or to listen to his message, and that person turns his back and despises not him, but his teaching and what he has been preaching and his messages, there are two options. It's either God has given up on that person, and God said, there's no hope for. So maybe God has just given up on that person. Or that person doesn't like himself. Or the person just wants to go the other direction. And he says this, but many people think, oh, this man is just being boastful. What do you mean? Are you the one that, do you have the word of life? Am I turning my back on Jesus? But no, he's just saying that anyone who would be opportune to hear what I'm teaching and my teachings, not even me. I'm not saying follow me, but at least what I'm giving out, the truths I'm delivering. If you would hear it and turn your back, it's almost like there's no hope for you anymore.
It's the dynamic you're alluding to is why 70 could walk away or 5,000 could walk away and not even 12 remained. What was it, 11? They replaced Judas. You're seeing that same principle. Okay, let's not compare it to Jesus so that the critics they enjoy it. Let's compare it to Paul or to any apostle in the book of Acts. the principle is found when the only one leper returned and gave thanks. In a crowd of many, few are thankful.
Yeah.
In the crowd, be suspicious of the crowd. That's what Pastor Sunday taught me, and I've seen it to be true.
Sure.
Be suspicious of the crowd. Only work intensely with sons. Yeah. So when people turn away, and often now that it's been a number of years of watching all this play out, a lot of the people that turned away, I can't speak for all of them. Some of them I knew or were, friends. But you don't really see them anymore. You definitely didn't see their ministries explode and prosper. So like if they were looking to disconnect or protect themselves by cutting him off, and now they're going to grow and explode in minutes, you didn't see that. In over a decade, I never saw that once. We saw the opposite. And you can ask Pastor Sunday, we saw the opposite.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, interesting. Please go ahead, sir.
Because people don't know how inheritance works with fathers and sons. It's a whole other topic. Okay, let's jump to marriage and family.
Okay.
One thing I loved, these are kind of unique rules. Number one, and that's why I wrote them down, because typically you see the opposite within marriage. Never teach your wife at home. He said to me, don't sit her down, don't instruct her, don't. And I never heard that in my entire life. Never teach your wife. Number two, never tell her what to do. Never tell her what to do.
Hey, as a typical African man.
That's probably, yeah. And keep in mind, Pastor Sunday's temperament comes from a warring tribe, fully Nigerian, and he's saying, never tell her what to do, only suggest. So that part of him was crucified and was replaced with the nature of Christ. And so, and anything that you some people think Pastor Sunday is controlling, domineering, they don't realize Pastor Sunday has mastered the art of holding things loosely. There's so much we could say about that here. Anything he holds on to, he holds loosely. And here's why. He gives God room for God to hold it together.
Wow.
He holds it so loosely that the kingdom and God is the one actually controlling this thing. So when you try to control, you end up losing. And he said, what you are not willing to surrender to the kingdom, you don't really own. You don't own it. It owns you. You will have that money you put in your pocket will have fallen out some hole somewhere. And you lost it because of how tightly you held it. Pastor Sunday is actually a man that holds things loosely. Wow. He'll hold his relationship with you. Oh, you want to go? Okay. You want to talk this way about? Okay. You think he's the opposite, but he holds things in such a way that the kingdom does the heavy lifting.
Wow. Amazing. It's like his principle, where he has taught never to be attached to anything or to anyone. Just one single attachment to God and to his kingdom.
Well, and I could take it to, like I've had not that long ago, late night conversation, just him and I, for several hours, and he said, I am a source. You can't take from me. I'm connected to God. I'm a giver. You can't give to me. You can't take something. You can leave me and I don't suffer loss. Like it was a really high level conversation we were having, because I was pushing him. I was saying, come on, you must feel like, how come you're not devastated? How come you're not? And he's listing, I can lose this, I can lose this, I can lose this, because I'm a source. And what he means by I'm a source is I'm connected to the source. But that's another video.
Entirely.
That's another topic. Okay, the next one, never shout or scream at your wife or raise your voice. He actually has a rule, or he did when I was under these teachings. You don't even yell to her from the other room. You don't call, like, holler at her to get her to come. And there was a time when he asked me a question about my wife at the time and when I was married. And I called her name, like, to try to get her to come from somewhere else. And he was like, oh, no. It's okay. Like, just don't drag her. Let her just be. Let her just flow. That's stability. That's a man who understands he's the foundation. He's the soil. He's just the soil. He's just sitting there as the soil. And he's letting the growth, he's letting his wife blossom. He's letting his kids blossom. That's a man in total place of stability. Number 4, you don't raise children, you build children. You don't raise children, you build children. That sounds mechanical and like a machine, but he absolutely understands what it takes to build anything successful. So you instill in them principles. You know, I'm sure if you've watched any of his videos on raising children or read any of the books, but especially the videos on YouTube, they're mind-blowing because it makes total sense. It makes total sense. And I think that's why his kids are exemplary in any forum. Any forum.
Wow. Pastor Derek, you've given these 4 points. But look, I just look at this picture right now, which is on our screen, and it's a picture of Dr. Sunday on his knees offering a bouquet to Pastor Bosse standing tall. And this picture just depicts what you've shared and even more about the way Dr. Sunday honors his wife. And some things that you've said, I mean, there are things that one has to really sit down and work on. Because one would think it's normal. I mean, your wife is just at the next door and you just want to just shout her name, hey, come. And then there is Dr. Sunday saying, no, you don't yell at your wife. You don't even scream from the other room.
Because you wouldn't shout at a queen that way. You see where it's coming from. You wouldn't shout at royalty that way. There's a protocol for how.
So you treat her as royalty.
You got it. You got it. But he's treating her as royalty when no one's watching. So I sometimes, like, when I see the flowers on the stage and all of that on the stage, sometimes I get a little disappointed because I'm thinking people don't realize that's not a stage performance. They don't know that that's just part of normal life for them. Pastor Bosse is a very smart woman. Pastor Bosse is a very smart woman. You can believe if things are the way they are there, that things are all right. Things are all right.
Speaking on the last point, that you don't raise children, you build children. Dr. Sunday just released a book a few days ago, and the title of the book is How to Build Friendly Relationship with Your Child. And I was opportune to work with on this book, and this book, I want to just use the opportunity for every parent out there. If you're a parent and you have a child right now, or you have grandchildren, or you have a friend who is also a parent, there are books that you just have to read because you might not just find such books anywhere. It's one thing to be a father to your child. It's another thing to be a mother to your child. But it's a whole different ballgame to be a friend to your child and to build a friendly relationship with your child. So I want to use the opportunity to announce this book, that this book right now is on pre-order right now. It's on pre-order. And you can get this book for as low as $3.99. So, and this offer lasts just for some days more. So if you're there and you're listening and you've not ordered for this book, well, I don't know what you're waiting for. Pastor Derek just said that one of Dr. Sunday's rules is that you don't just raise, but you build like you're building a house, like you're having a project. So, and this book is titled How to Build a Friendly Relationship with your child. So I just want to put it out there that this book is available. You don't have to grow up in the dark anymore. You don't have to function in ignorance as a parent. You have the answers right there in that book. How to build a friendly relationship with your child. Please do well to get it. All right. So, Pastor Derek, we're back to you, sir.
Well, we're approaching the 2-hour mark, so maybe I'll give one more. I'm getting tired, and I want my words to remain choice.
Awesome. Yeah.
And 2 hours is a good. There's a lot that people should digest from.
Yeah.
I don't want the length to intimidate them too much. The last one I chose related to money. Now, Pastor Sunday has a lot of rules related to money. And I think, anybody who's on the platform has been seeing his video teachings. He's got books on it. So I didn't want to just repeat his points.
Yeah.
But there was one in particular that I liked, that I put down, that I noticed even recently. And it's his statement that he made in his teachings on finances. Don't spend money on what you could do without. Don't spend money on what you can do without. And it's the principle of frugality, or being frugal. And it's a mindset. It's the mindset of looking for the best price. You would think the more wealthier you become, the more you would spend, which most people, that's why the lottery has shown us. Most people who win the lottery have lost it all within just a couple of years.
Yeah.
Or are even in debt, or have taken their own life. Like, how does such a deficit come from such accumulation? It's a mindset. So Pastor Sunday has set rules in such a way that he can help people become millionaires. He can help people manage. He can help people budget. And I had heard that people are like this. These guys that are wealthy, the ones who are really wealthy, they spend less. They're still looking for deals. They're still looking for bargains. So I'm just there this last anniversary. And we're driving in the car, and typical Pastor Sunday, he hears it's somebody's birthday, so we're all going to stop by the flower shop. And this is the big bishop that's going to stop by by the flower shop on the way to the service, and the building was on fire. But the building's on fire, but he's going to express love to this one person today.
Wow.
I mean, that in of itself. So we stop by the flower shop. He says, do you want to come? Because we know we're going to see some wild stuff when he's in the street. And we go into the supermarket area. People are waving. Some are frowning. There's all this chaos. And instead of being stressed, he goes into the flower shop, and we're all there. And then there's the cold room, really cold, where all these flowers are kept. So we go in there, and the man is going through each bouquet, what it costs, is the color right? This isn't for the queen. This is some pastor of the thousands, hundreds. And he's scrutinizing each bouquet. And finally, I'm getting cold in this refrigerator. I go outside. I've got to preach tomorrow. I don't want to catch a cold, so I go outside, and I'm Canadian. He's Nigerian.
I was about to say that you're Canadian.
And I'm Canadian, but I know the effects of cold, and jet lag. So he's in there, and he's looking for the best price. He's engaging with the owner of how to have a good price. And I can't believe it. We go in and, I've got more money this week. I'll buy more expensive flowers. Yeah. He's doing the opposite. So he gets the flowers, and I think even by the end, maybe they were given to him or something. And we go back to the car, and I said to him, I noticed that you were dealing with the price of these.
Bargaining.
And he said to me, it's a mindset. It's a mindset. Frugality, it's a mindset. And that really stuck out to me. That even with I was so glad that I saw it. Because I'm like, okay, I got to get back to that. Where like I'm actually looking at pricing it, and all the big guys are thinking this way. Like Gene Simmons, who was the guitarist or whatever from that band Kiss years ago. Jewish man, very wealthy. He, after the band, he invested his money wisely. He's a Jewish man. And he always was saying, if you don't keep track of your pennies, you won't keep track of your dollars. And he had stable, increasing wealth. And I've seen that Pastor Sunday lives according to this as well. He said, Derek, it's a mindset. Yeah.
Don't tell me you're done.
Well, I mean, I could go on and on about rules and things I've seen in Pastor Sunday. And some of these, to really do them justice, they need to be expanded upon, you know. But it's just the way he lives. So you're seeing some of the iceberg. The iceberg beneath. The iceberg beneath,
Wow, I must say, Pastor Derek, you've done, I mean, you said it's 2 hours. It didn't even feel like, it feels like we're just 15 minutes into the program. Because, because of the wealth and the depth of what you've been sharing. And not just the depth, but you bringing it in a very practical way that is relatable. You know, it's one thing to just teach theoretical knowledge and just load people with but it's another thing to make whatever you're saying very practical, that anyone who is listening can begin to make associations with, okay, this is visible in my life. Oh, yes, I also go to buy some stuff, but I don't bargain the price, and I don't take my time to look which is the best price. Okay, so the next time I go to make that shopping, I must take my time to apply this principle. And or for the husband who is the chief instructor telling his wife to do this and that, and then he hears you say, no, don't tell your wife what to do, just suggest. I mean,
because if I just list rules, 20 rules, 30 rules, people read them and think that they got it. They don't remember. They never look at their paper again. It's a whole culture of that. And so I'm trying to bring them into, this is where people really live. That thing with the flowers, the detail. Even when we got back into the vehicle, he turned to me and he said, it's cold in there, right? Like he noticed I walked out. He's in charge of the details, you know? So you have to bring it into a practical level so the people who watch this, they'll never forget what I've said. They'll never forget.
I would never forget.
So I'm glad to hear that. I'm going to write a book. I have 2 more books on the way, and then I think I'll write this one along the lines of the Pastor Sunday I know. It'll be something I'd like to do within his lifetime for sure.
Wow. Amazing. Well, dear viewers, Pastor Derek Schneider from Canada. I would like to announce once again, I don't know if we have callers yet, but I would like to give the invitation to anyone who is listening who has something in your heart you want to share, your thoughts, your opinion. What do you have as an impression right now on your heart that you would like to share with us and to all of the viewers all over the world watching today's program? We would like to hear from you. We would like to hear your thoughts. So for you to do that, you would need to go to Facebook Messenger and search for Move Agents on Facebook Messenger. And right there, you just write to us that you are interested in having a call, and we will call you. We will call you, all right? And I would also like to make the announcements about Dr. Sunday's book promo, which is in this month of May. If you would like to partake in this promo, you just send a mail to the office that is at dsasbooks@gmail.com. dsasbook@gmail.com. You might not get your response immediately because there are tons of messages coming in, but I would like you to please be rest assured that in due time you would get a response to your order, all right? And this is the latest book I spoke about while Pastor Derek was speaking, and it is titled How to Build Friendly Relationship with Your Child. Well, this book, like I said, it's on pre-order right now, and you can get it for as low as $3. After some days, the price would be increased like 4 times. So I think it's an opportunity for everyone there. If you're a parent there and you really want to know how to be a friend to your kids, I think this book should be what you should get. So please do well to make an order. It's on Amazon right now, How to Build a Friendly Relationship with Your Child. All right. Do we have callers? All right. So we're trying to connect with our callers, Pastor Derek. Would get to them and would hear what they have to say. All right. So also, I'd like to make these important announcements to everyone who is watching. This is going live right now, and we've had it from the 1st of May, and we would keep having it to the 28th of May. All right. But I think we have a caller right now, so we'd like to receive that caller. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, Dr. Anu. How are you?
Well, I'm having a great time here. Thank you so much for asking.
This is Mr. Wale Banjoko calling from London.
Oh, Mr. Wale, you might have to speak louder. You see, I couldn't even get, if at all I would get anybody's voice, I should be able to get your voice. But I think because your voice is not so loud. You hear me better now? Yeah, but I think it's louder now. Good.
Okay. Hi, Dr. Anu. Hi, Dr. D, as I call him, Pastor Derek. How are you, my brother? I hope you can hear me as well.
Yeah, he can hear you. He can hear you.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I tuned in today. I think it's been very informative show. I think Pastor Derek knows Dr. DSA very well, and I think it was nice to hear his own view on Dr. Sunday and everything about him. I think one of the things I'm going to start off with is I wrote a few things down. I know the pastor thing is like what I loved about what Pastor Derek said was in the beginning when he was talking about Dr. Sunday, always coming down to people's level of understanding, because there's sometimes that you watch him on the live feed that somebody has either asked a question or has made some subject matter, and you look at it and said, how does this man have the patience to actually be able to absorb some of the response or some of the style or some of the comments that people make towards him, and actually hold himself together. Because even for me, when I'm watching it, I am fuming. I'm wondering that if this person was next to me, what I would do to him. You see Dr. Sunday very reserved and give the person opportunity to speak their mind, number one, no matter what it is that they are saying, and also give them the consideration, actually listen to them thoroughly without actually looking as if he's irritated. For me as a viewer, I am irritated, and I'm wondering how this man has been able to culture himself, whereby he can just actually hold himself still and still ask the question, whereby the person still feels like it's still very special. Those are one of the qualities that I think I found very encouraging about him, that I think even for me, I try to work on myself to try and build myself to be able to develop that, whereby you don't necessarily look at somebody as being irrelevant or a subject matter as being irrelevant, but actually being able to listen to them, be able to control yourself, to actually be able to absorb it and have to give them whether encouragement or give them something that they can take away, whereby there's a benefit, from having an exchange with you. I think that's one of the qualities that I myself I have seen from the DSA and trying as much as possible to adopt into me. There's some other things that I wrote about it. I noticed that all throughout this conversation with you and Pastor Derek, Doctor, I know you kept nodding your head because you yourself, I think you could see that this man was speaking exactly what you know of the person that he's talking about.
Oh yes.
It's like for me, it's a confirmation that it's not just Pastor Derek is just speaking from a place of not knowing who this is, but actually speaking from a place of knowledge. And I think that was for me, that was one of the key things for this exchange that we had. Yeah. One of the strongest statements that I think I enjoyed from this statement was when he said success will always demand more from you than you're willing to give.
Yes.
I think that is a very powerful statement, and anybody really that's working hard in trying to accomplish anything, if you have this statement as part of your heading that you look up to, it will give you the drive and the ability to be able to conquer almost anything that you wish to do in your life. So I think for me that's one of very powerful statement.
Wow.
There's another thing that Dr. D, as I call him, but it's Pastor D, said about the principles of DSA. One of these principles, in terms of as much as somebody that gives everybody as much time that he has, when he is in his seclusion, it is a principle that he holds on to. Because I have also been to Ukraine, whereby you don't get to see him for days, because he is in his retreat. And I think that's a special quality, no matter what it is. So it's not something that you hold on to. Say, how can I come all the way to this man and this? I come here and I can't even see this man. But really, it is something that he has done, and it's a principle that he has followed. Not necessarily to make you feel relevant, but it's something just to show that the principle is a man of principles and he sticks with it. I think one of the other things that I think I noted here was that Pastor Sunday doesn't pass you by. Pass you by whether physically or pass you by whether even if you send him a message, he'll respond to you at an appointed time that he has. For a man that is so busy, he will also make the effort to also try and reach back to you as much as possible. I think this is something that he himself has shared many, many times. Anybody has listened to him, you'd have heard that. But I am also somebody, a big believer that I have seen this principle work in his life all throughout. And then the other thing I want to say is this: you asked Pastor Derek that because he's a white man from Canada, that why does he follow some of the principles, or someone understands or has a connection with Pastor Sunday. All I have to tell you is Pastor Derek is my twin brother. He's from Idumila. He's actually my twin brother. I don't know. There's everybody might be. He's just the white version of my brother that's been, So he's not a Canadian. He's from Idumila. He's my twin brother. Just another thing. And then just to finish it up, the Pastor Sunday, I know, you have the right authority. Pastor Derek. I'm just going to say, I have to accept the fact that he has the authority to write about Pastor Sunday because he knows the man very well, and that's basically where I'm going to end up on this point. Pastor Derek, you have the same hairstyle that I do, so definitely we're twin brothers. You just have to grow your beard, and everybody will mix us up, as we say. And hopefully I'll see you at the end of the month. I hope, and Dr. Anu, the same for you, sir.
Wow.
Thank you, gentlemen. I've appreciated this whole week of everybody speaking about my brother in a different light. I think we've had people where we can see him as a jovial man. We've seen him as a family man. We've seen him as his responsibility. We've seen different aspects of him. It was good to have Pastor Derek share another side of him today. Wow. Thank you, gentlemen. I love you all, and God bless.
Wow, Mr. B.
Only the best from Wale, the master chef.
Yeah. You've tasted his food, right?
Oh yeah, of course. But he posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
So he's making me hungry.
And he makes us hungry.
Yeah, we're all hungry because of Wale. He's a good friend. He's a good friend. Wow. I love that guy.
Wow, great. And he said that you're from Idomila. What is just left is for your bed. That's it. The hairstyle is good.
My hair grow the beard.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'm privileged and honored.
Wow, great. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Wale. Thank you so much for your call, for those words that you said. It's great to hear from you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you here. I'm sure we'll have a great time. All right, we have another caller. Good evening, caller.
Good afternoon, Dr. Adu.
Well, that's Pastor Tuka right there.
Well, yes, you are right. Thank you for the good work you are doing.
Thank you so much.
Pastor Derek, it's lovely hearing your voice.
Wow, you might have to speak louder, so that we can hear you very clearly.
Okay, yes. First of all, I want to congratulate Dr. Sunday Adelaja on his birthday celebration. I mean, these are rare privilege, rare opportunity people have. But for him making himself available to all, giving everybody opportunity is a good thing. So I'm glad, that I'm able, to express my wishes of happy birthday to him. I want to, say two things. One, Bible says Matthew 5, I think from 14 downward, that we should let our lights shine before all men.
Yes.
Let our light so shine that all will see, and that they will glorify God.
True.
So anybody that is coming up on here or anywhere and saying that we are worshiping Sunday at Delaja should go and read Matthew chapter 5. When the scripture talks about that we are the light of the world. That meaning that our good deeds should be so clear, should be so conspicuous, that people had to talk about it. Sunday Adelaja is not talking about himself. It is not himself that is giving the testimonies of himself, but people that have related with him, people that have dealt with him, people that have seen him, people that have eaten, people that his life has touched, are now celebrating him, the way we are celebrating. We are not worshiping, people are not worshiping Sunday, but we are celebrating him because we have seen or we know what he has done, and that is a good thing. So for those of us also, those out there that are wanting, what is the secret of this man? How come he's able to do this great thing?
Mm-hmm.
This is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to begin to hear what people are saying. And then if you are challenged, you are so challenged, try to live that life. Try to imbibe these principles. Try to live the way people are saying that this man is living. And let's see if we will not see you at the top.
Amazing.
I want to tell you, Pastor Derek, that your testimony today, is so powerful. And the testimony touched somebody that was with me. I had a guest, a client, she's a white. I had to take them to a museum somewhere in Washington, D.C. And you were talking about the principles. And then you were talking about, how Dr. Sunday will, in the company of big men, we pick up his wife's phone and was talking to his wife, until most of the men left the room, and how that was a principle that he had to live by, not minding anything. And while that was going on, because I was kind of feeling that I might be distracting my guest or my client. I wanted to put it on the earpiece. I tried, so much, but it didn't work. I wanted to remove it from speakerphone, on my car and put it on the earpiece, but it didn't work. But, the good news, why I bring that up is that, when I was about to drop this lady, she now told me, who is this man they are talking about? And as I know, this Pastor Sunday Adelaja is from Nigeria, and he said, okay, she now said, he's in Kiev. I said, I look back and look at her. Apparently, she heard what Derek was saying, and she went on Facebook, on Google. And Google, and she was even telling me about Sunday Adelaja, and she said she is going to begin to listen to this man.
Wow.
So I said that to encourage everyone, please share. You never know who you could bless by the testimonies that is coming from this platform. So thank you, Dr. Anu and Pastor Derek, and happy birthday to Pastor Sunday Adelaja. Bless you.
Yeah, Derek. Wow, Pastor Tuka. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. Pastor Derek, you were able to listen, hear what he said, right?
Yeah, I could hear once they turned the volume up, and I'm more and more Nigerian every day, so I understand the accent better now.
Yeah, you are attesting to Mr. Wale's statement that you are his brother from Idomila.
Yeah, and in the comments on this video, people are saying Pastor Derek is an Idomila man.
Amazing, amazing. Wow, wow, great. That's a great contribution. I mean, someone was listening and the person began to check for who this man is. Who would rather choose to speak to his wife where there are a lot of dignitaries who are waiting for him? Who would do that?
It's amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
And these are true stories. You can't argue with its truth, right?
Wow. I think we have another caller already, right?
Yes.
Okay, hello caller, good evening to you.
Good evening, Dr. Ano.
Well,
this is Chris Al.
I was going to say
London.
that, Chris Al.
Yeah.
Awesome. Please kindly speak louder so we all can hear you.
Okay. I just want to say good evening, Pastor Derek. It's so nice to listen to you today, to see you again. I was privileged to meet you at the last HMT. You, honestly speaking, just listening to your, will I call it message or testimony or about Dr. Sunday, you've just blessed my soul. Wow. Honestly speaking, you've just blessed my soul.
Wow.
I never thought I would call, but I just said no. If from what we've just learned, talking about gratitude, and that because you might never have the chance to say it again, I just told myself I had to call, because this message today has just put to rest a lot of things. And for those who for those who really don't know much about DSA, I really still don't know much. There's still a lot I'm learning about DSA. But it just goes to show that you truly know the one that you have called a mentor. And the fact that you have talked with him through all the trials, all the tribulations, all the persecution, really shows that, like a statement you made, you talked about that you must really have a revelation of, I can't remember how you put it now, I wrote it down, but you must really have a revelation of, I think, of who you are, or of what God is doing in your life for you to stay stuck with this man called DSA. So I just called to express my gratitude for the word that you have put out today, because I don't know of others, it has really been a blessing. I remember from what you said, I remember when I just came in contact with DSA, and after a couple of months, a lot of trash was just going on, people saying all sort of things. And I kind of like went back and I was just like meditating on the whole thing. And I remember, I believe the Spirit of God spoke to my heart and said, look, this is not just a test of leadership, but also a test of followership. So, and it really dawned on me. But what I have seen today from the presentation that you have given, it's a man who are not just DSA, you are somebody that have also gone through the test, and you have come out on the other end, on the other side. And you made a profound statement when you say, God will never leave sons in the grave. And that was profound. So I don't really have, there's so much I can say, but I just want to say thank you so much for today's presentation. And I'm so happy that it's one of the presentations that I had the opportunity of following from the very beginning. Because all other presentation is either I'm just meeting it halfway or I'm meeting it when it's almost rounding up. But today, I was able to start from the very beginning, and I started taking down notes upon notes upon notes. In fact, I have pages full of I'm telling you, of notes from just this brief discussion about the rules of DSA. I just want to say thank you very much. It just dawned on me that I still don't know the man called DSA. I don't know the man called DSA, and I'll continue to learn, and I continue to apply to my life. And I know that with time, God is going to do something, but you have blessed my soul. I just can't stop saying that you have blessed my soul today. Thank you very much.
Wow.
May God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So much, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
So much gratitude there.
Yeah, from the heart. You can feel it from the heart.
Yeah. That's straight from the heart. And that's just, basically applying what you shared with us today. You never know. You might not have the opportunity again. So be grateful today. Be grateful now.
It makes it so foolish that people would criticize honoring in such a way. The critics look foolish, you know. Why not honor somebody this way? Look at the difference it's making.
Wow, great. We still have more callers, so would be receiving them to hear what people have to say. So if you like to call in and you're asking how can I call, well, you could just go to Facebook Messenger, search for Move Agents on Facebook Messenger, Move Agents, and then write to us that you would like to call in to the studio, and we'll be more than happy to hear from you. All right, so we have a caller right now.
Good evening, Dr. Anu.
Good evening, sir. Wow. How are you doing?
Pastor Harmony calling from Cameroon.
Yes, sir. I definitely can recognize your voice, Pastor Harmony.
Thank you so much. Pastor Derek SCHNEIDER, great job. Congratulations.
Awesome. Please speak louder, please.
Okay, I just want to appreciate Pastor Derek for a powerful presentation, and for the fact that in Canada he accepted the responsibility to produce history makers too, like what Dr. Sunday Adeleja is doing. Congratulations, sir. You know, anytime I listen to DSA, I always just feel like maybe I wasted my life. Number one, I always know where I am failing in life, because every statement he makes every time is like a challenge to me. Like, what have this guy been studying? What have this guy been learning in life, you know? So one of the things I learned about him is his priority. Number one, he said God first, then wife second, or family second, then ministry is third. So he said his greatest challenge in life is to be in solitude for a week. So that's his greatest challenge. And his second greatest challenge is to please the wife always.
Always.
Always. And for ministry, it's not a challenge at all. I said, boy, you know, I said, this is so wonderful. I think that every woman in the world would love to marry DSA. Because DSA is an example of a real man.
Yeah.
And DSA is a challenge to every man. Anytime as a man you listen to DSA, you will just immediately know that you were only claiming you are a man. But you don't know who is a man. Wow. Honestly, you know. And I also discovered that DSA is so time conscious. I remember I was listening to the video that he was preaching on why he doesn't drive and the wife doesn't cook. And then I was curious about it, just for him to tell me that driving takes his time, that he was supposed to be doing something. And the wife has a lot to do, that she don't need to be spending time in the kitchen. I said, this is mind-blowing.
Scandalous.
How somebody is conscious of time to a level that even the time to drive is like, I have to be doing something during this time. I don't have to be spending driving. Let the driver, which is his job, we should be doing this. I said, I have never ever thought about this. Honestly speaking, you know, I remember I was watching this with my wife, and my wife was very happy about it. So, like, you can also look for somebody to be cooking so that I can be doing my stuff. I said, man, now I'm in trouble.
She's a smart wife, you know, for her to be there to listen together with you. So she can tell you, hey, you remember what Pastor Sunday said? Oh yeah, please fix it.
Now like this, anytime that has to do with the family something, I watch it alone before I speak to my wife because I don't want trouble.
Wow.
And then DSA writes a book every week. This is mind blowing. I can't believe this. And he does live broadcast every day. And he writes a book every week. I can't explain this. How is he managing his time? How is he doing all these things at the same time, you know? Also, when I look at DSA, I see Christ's attitude. Anytime I look at DSA, very accessible, very simple, so disciplined. He makes everybody feel comfortable around him, you know. Nobody feels like I can't make it around him. You know, everybody feels like, wow, I can become somebody, you know.
True.
And I appreciate that so much. And then he's a man that also accepts responsibility. You know, he made statements like, I accept responsibility for the salvation of Ukraine. I remember I was just watching their 10th anniversary video where he was saying that I accept responsibility for the salvation of Ukraine. No, he's making this statement, I will transform Nigeria. For me, it would take me 1 year of solitude to ever make that statement because I'm not sure I can actually be bold to make that kind of a statement. Seriously, because it's so challenging. And I remember that Jesus Christ also was known for making such statements. The Pharisees and the Sadducees, that is the religious cabals of his time, were angry with Jesus for one thing. I am the light of the world. I am my Father are one. Now this statement, I think, is a statement of responsibility. Which, if everybody wants to accept responsibility for their city and their nation, I think it will bring transformation. My concluding statement is Galatians 2:20, where Apostle Paul said, I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ lives in me. I think it's no more DSA, it's Christ living in DSA. With the things that he does and the short time that he does the thing that he does, I think it's no longer him. It is Christ that actually lives in him, like what Apostle Paul said. I am crucified with Christ. I am no longer the one living. It is Christ that lives in me. This is my concluding statement. And I am so happy about my encounter with DSA because, as I said, if I want to be challenged, I need to listen. I need to watch a video like this. I need to always listen to you people. Thank you so much, Pastor Derek. My greatest prayer is that I will do what you are doing in Canada, in Africa here. I am in Cameroon. I believe that we are going to begin a History Makers Academy here in Cameroon that will go to Central Africa and other parts of African countries. I am happy about this opportunity. Thank you so much, Dr. Anu.
Wow, thank you so much, Pastor Harmony. That is Pastor Harmony all the way from Cameroon, Africa. Glory to God. Beautiful. Wow. I mean, you know, his concluding statement was Galatians 2 verse 20. Pastor Derek, you know, until I met Dr. Sunday, I just thought those things are very good for preaching. I didn't know that those things were actually meant to be flesh, you know. Because I used to preach it. I used to hear people say, yes, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ that lives in me. And I preach it and everybody's, yeah, we preach it and everything. But to have it actually tangible, where another human being can see Galatians 2:20 in your life.
Yeah, most people are too much alive for Christ to live in them.
They are too much alive. Wow. That's what thinking. That's a seller word. They are too much alive for Christ to live in them.
Yeah, for you know, God, you know, said it of Paul for power is weakness. Strength is made perfect in weakness. If you want to do exploits, you're going to have to find that weakness. And it's the mercy of God if he helps you to become that weak, so that his grace can be sufficient for you. And that's the secret of Pastor SCHNEIDER.
Wow, 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 wow. Thank you. We have another caller. All right.
Hello. Good evening, Dr. Anu.
Mrs. Ufoma.
And good evening, Pastor Derek.
Good evening to you, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Very well, very well. Please go ahead.
Yeah. I didn't think I'll be able to call. I just quickly sent the children to bed so that I could call.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Pastor Derek. I was really excited to see that you were coming on the show today. It's just really awesome, hearing you share. One thing that I did, especially after meeting Pastor Sunday online and following him, was to actually visit videos of people that are close to him and hear what they have to say. And one of the first videos I had to go through then was his wife. And after his wife, then I noticed Pastor Derek was always around him, and then some people that had testimony of living in that house with him for a long time. And those videos actually helped me a lot, especially when we said some people just came and were making a lot of noise and talking a lot of rubbish. And I remember even there was one time I was really hot. I remember one of the videos of his wife, and what she was going and what she was saying there actually helped me. And I kind of told myself that, these people, they are used to this because this is how many years ago. Yeah. If she's what is my own problem? This is nothing new. And that I remember that day. I think I even said that I said, I thank God that in spite of all of this, all through these years, you have not changed. You have remained the same. And I was just so grateful to God. The best way to know any person really is to listen to the people that are close to the person. But I'm surprised that people will spend time listening to people that don't even know a person, and you want to get an information of somebody that they have not met from them. It doesn't make sense. This person that wants to tell this person that you are listening to has not met the said person, and you want to get information from that person about him. It's foolishness as far as I'm concerned. I remember I tell somebody, I said, you can't tell me about somebody that I have met. I should be the one telling you. Yeah. I know what I know. You don't know. You have not met this person. Yeah. You don't know him. I have met him. So I should be the one giving you information, not the other way around. You understand? So what we are doing here is really very, very good because it takes for someone, if you are really following somebody, you need to listen to what other people have to say about somebody. Sure. And also check out the people that you are listening to, before you even accept what they have to say. And Pastor Derek is one person that I'm really so glad that he's here today. I remember the HMT that I attended, Pastor Derek, he shared a lot of funny stuff of his struggle, trying to even catch up with Pastor Sunday and follow him. And just have him mentor him. And everything he has shared, everything about Pastor Sunday actually poses a challenge to you. I remember actually that principle of never pass by anyone. Or there's another one that Pastor Sunday notices everything. He notices everyone. And that one stood for me, especially when in fact, he made me also realize that I had my own prejudice. Especially when you are coming from a religious background, you quickly judge people even before you get to meet them. But when I heard Pastor Sunday say that when I saw that principle about that, he noticed everything and he never passes by anyone. I started seeing myself, working on myself to do that. Because I realized that if you cannot come down to people's level, if you cannot put your prejudice and your biases behind you, you can't love people. There's no way you can reach them. If you judge them even before you get to know them, how do you minister? You can't minister to them. That was a very strong. But another thing that struck me with Pastor Sunday is that I thought I was humble. Hey, in fact, the first thing that blew me off was his humility humbled me.
His humility humbled you.
I thought I was humble, but this man's humility has humbled me. You know, I didn't even realize that I still had pride until I met Pastor Sunday in my own naughtiness, in my own. Well, where do you want to rank me? I was shocked that Jesus. I didn't even know that I was not humble.
Wow.
His humility humbled me. I don't forget that Pastor Sunday's humility humbled me. He made me realize that I still had pride in my life. You know, and I'm just so grateful because anytime you spend with Pastor Sunday, it's a time invested.
Yes.
Any time spent with him, there's always something to learn. There's always something to take away. And I'll just be forever grateful to God for Pastor Sunday Adelaja. Thank you so much, Pastor Derek. You have really opened our eyes today, and I'm really so glad, that we had you on the platform today. God bless you. Thank you, Dr. Anu. You are just awesome. You are doing so well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for those words. Thank you.
Wow, great words. Well, Pastor Derek, that is our final caller for today. And I would like you to share your last words or your final words or your concluding statements before I end the show.
Well, it's a real honor. I think the highest honor of a son is to stand at the gates and defend. And I think we see that manifestation here. Even if it wasn't intended, you can see that manifestation here. Interestingly, as I looked through the comments, somebody commented and said, the building is burning down and he buys flowers.
Who does that?
And he's buying a flower. And I just couldn't help but feel that was just great icing on the cake of the content today. So I want to wish you, Pastor Sunday, a very happy birthday. A 52, years and your best years ahead of you. I know what God showed me in that dream of what you're going to do. Having not known any of your plans at that time, and the Lord showed me. And being a white Caucasian, I couldn't imagine to ever hear the words in a dream, imagine when Africa leads the world.
Imagine.
I gave it to a Canadian. Imagine when Africa leads the world.
Wow.
We're talking about much more than a man.
Glory to God.
We're talking about a movement and an era, a shift in the history of the world as we know it.
Glory.
So I leave you with that in Jesus' name.
Wow. Pastor Derek, this was an amazing time. I told you before the program began that just after I received your final mail, I said, no, you successfully stirred up my anticipation for today's program. So I didn't just come today to host, but I was ready to receive. I was ready to learn. I was ready to take all I could while I'm seated here. And I must tell you that I'm full. I feel it. I know that I've received some things today. And I want to hope that people who are listening have at least one or two things that they will be able to take home with them as a result of today's program. And that is exactly what this is about. 28 days to celebrate Dr. Sunday's life, his legacy, his impact, his influence, and his example, his model that he has given to us through his life. And that's what we're doing. We're not just like one of the callers said, we're not worshiping him. We are picking lessons from his life. As he always says, Pastor Derek, he says that he is a ladder and he is a bridge. So we're using his birthday to use his life as that bridge, as that ladder for us to climb to our destiny. So I want to use the opportunity to welcome everyone. Please share this link, invite your friends, everybody, invite the critics, invite everybody. Let's all come to this feast where we get to learn and receive what we need to actually live the life that God would have us live here on earth. So we're continuing this program tomorrow, 7 p.m. Kyiv time, 5 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. Nigerian time. We're having another speaker tomorrow, that will speak on another subject, and it's going to be a wow. All right, thank you so much, Pastor Derek.
Dr. Anu, you did a very good job. I think I speak for everybody, and in the comments, people are saying what an excellent job you're doing. So, you know, I applaud you as well, and well done.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. And thanks to everyone who is dropping their kind words. I appreciate that. We'll be back tomorrow. Please kindly share the link if you've not done it, and have a wonderful night. This is from us here in Kyiv, Ukraine. Thank you so much, and God bless. Bye.